Good morning. We're going to talk today about circles and how to find the circumference of the circle. Before we start, we're going to go over parts of the circle. We did this briefly on Pi Day, but I want to go over and refresh your memory. First off, the distance around the outside of the circle is called the circumference. In other shapes, we refer to this as the perimeter. The center of the circle to the outside edge, that distance is known as the radius. And then this green line here goes from one end of the circle to the other and passes through the center. That's called your diameter. What we didn't talk about on Pi Day was specifically how to find the pi. Pi is the ratio between the circumference of the circle and its diameter. And this ratio holds true for any and all circles. When you simplify this ratio, it simplifies down to the fraction 22 over 7, or to 3.14159, etc. There are a few formulas you need to know when we're talking about circles. We're going to talk about three different formulas that you need to know today. Today's formulas deal with circumference, radius, and diameter. So first off, your formula for circumference. There are two different formulas for circumference. The first one is multiplying pi times the diameter. The second one is multiplying pi times the radius and then multiplying that product by 2. Both of these equations are on the screen. And they are also on the PDF that I included in Google Classroom. The other formulas you need to know are how to find radius and diameter. There is a relationship between the two of those measurements. Radius, if you can see on our little diagram on your screen, is the red line. And radius goes from the center to the outside edge. Well, if I take two radii and put them together, I'm going to end up with the diameter. So the formula for diameter is multiplying the radius by 2. The formula for radius is either multiplying the diameter by 2 or dividing the diameter by 2. So those are three formulas that you need to commit to memory. So we're going to take a look at some circles, and I'm going to show you how to find the circumference of the circle. I'm going to do one example for you, and then you'll do a couple on your own. So the very first thing that you do, or that I recommend you do, is write down the equation for circumference, since that's what we're looking for. Circumference equals 2 times pi times r. Then you're going to plug in the value for radius. I'm going to plug in 6 and rewrite the equation. Circumference equals 2 times pi times 6. So once that's written down, then I'm going to multiply. 2 times 6 is 12. So circumference is 12 times pi, or 37 and 68 hundredths of an inch. So this ultimately is my equation for circumference, or this is the answer for the circumference of this circle. So now what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video, and I want you to use the equation and figure out what the circumference of this circle is. So pause now and come back when you're done. Welcome back. So following my model from before, you should be rewriting your equation. Circumference equals 2 times pi times r, and then plugging in the values. When you simplify, you get 7 times pi, or 21 and 98 hundredths centimeters. Don't forget your label. When you're writing your circumference, your label is the same as your measurement for radius or diameter. Here's 2 more examples that I want you to do. Again, pause the video, figure out the answer on your paper, and when you're done, come back to check your work. Welcome back. So for question 4, again, you're going to rewrite the equation, plug in your values, and then multiply, and you get 62 and 8/10 of a foot. And question 5, plug in your value, multiply, 43 and 96 hundredths, and this should actually be millimeters. The next thing I want to do is, what if we have half of a circle and we're looking for the circumference of this half circle? Again, circumference and perimeter are the same thing. So first, what you're going to do is find the whole circle circumference, divide it by 2, and then add in the distance of the diameter. So we have a half circle or a semicircle who has a diameter of 6. So first, find the equation for the circumference of the whole circle, whose diameter is 6. Then I'm going to take that number and I'm going to divide it in half, or divide it by 2, to get 9 and 42 hundredths of a meter. That's just the distance around the top, or this arc distance. I now have to add in the diameter. So my total perimeter of this semicircle region is 15 and 42 hundredths of a meter. So I would like you to do this on your own, come up with the answer, pause the video, come up with the answer, and then come back when you're done. Welcome back. So just like before, the first thing you do is you write the equation and plug in your values, 2 times pi, and you multiply. Then you're going to divide your product by 2, and then you're going to add your diameter in. So 3.14 plus 2 is 5 and 14 hundredths of a foot. These two questions again, I want you to work on them on your own. So pause the video and come back when you're done. Welcome back. So just like before, I want you to write the equation for circumference, plug in your 7, you're going to multiply and end up with 21 and 98 hundredths. Divide that by 2, and then you're going to add back in that 7 centimeters. So the total perimeter of this semicircle region is 17 and 99 hundredths of a centimeter. For question 9, same thing, except you're given the radius. So now you have to double this. 30 times pi is 94.2, or you could have gotten 94 and 20 hundredths. I got rid of the 0 because these are equivalent fractions. When you divide this by 2, you're going to get 47 and 1/10. Then I have to add back not 15, but 30. When I add 30 inches to my semicircle, or my arc's distance, I'm going to get 71 and 1/10 of an inch. And that is the perimeter of this semicircle region. So that's the lesson for today, how to find circumference of a circle and the perimeter of a semicircle region. You're now ready to go to Big Ideas website. There are 2 activities there for you to work on. One of them is the practice problems for today, and the other one is the fair game review questions. So it doesn't matter what order you do them in, but I would like for you to do both of them today. Thank you, and I will see you guys tomorrow.